Episode number 90. Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Brand. Are you eager to get unstuck and figure out what you would actually like to do with your career next? Have you been going around in circles trying to figure it out but getting no further forward? If so, you're going to love today's sponsor, my signature group program, the Career Clarity Academy. Changing career direction can feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. In my signature program, we give you clear, step-by-step, proven processes for getting completely clear on what it is that you want to do and understanding how you can leverage your existing experience and position yourself to attract and land a dream role. To find out more, head over to lightboxcoaching.com/academy. Hello, and welcome to the show. I hope you are well. Welcome to day 2 of the Career Changemaker Sprint. We are in the midst of a 5-day series where I am breaking down some of the key things that you need to be considering if you are ready to commence the career change journey. So yesterday we dove into the first part. So if you haven't listened to that yet, I suggest you go back to day 1 and check that out. But today we are moving on to something that I think is super important when you are considering a career change, and that is really looking at what you want life to look like holistically. Because oftentimes when we're feeling stuck in our career, we can feel like if only I could find the right job, if only I could move into the right role, then all will be well and I will feel fantastic and life will be great. But what is important to consider is how will the type of role you're moving into impact your life holistically? Now, I talk a lot about work-life integration with my clients because I recognize that as a society, often people talk about work-life balance as if that is what we should be striving towards. But when we're striving towards work-life balance, it's inevitable that we're going to feel like we're dropping a ball, or we're going to feel like we're falling short, because it's impossible for your life and your work to be fully in balance all of the time. So instead, it's way more productive to focus on work-life integration and recognize that your work and your life are not two separate things, and that you really need to think about how do you want work and life to coexist? How do you want them to work together? Because there are going to be times when work takes over, and there are going to be other times where family life will take over. And if you recognize that, but you are intentional about how you are developing your life, your career, and how that impacts everything else, then you're much more likely to be in a place where you are doing work that you enjoy, because that work isn't necessarily taking you away from other areas of your life beyond the expectations that you have around that. So when we're talking about looking at life holistically, and when we're considering what type of role should I go into, is making sure that you're not just making a decision in a vacuum. You're not just saying, oh, that sounds like a really good opportunity, I want to move into that, or I like the look of that person's life and that's the job that they do, so maybe I should pursue that. Instead of us jumping around and looking for inspiration and thinking, oh, I could pursue this, I could pursue that, we move more to a place where we've really considered, what do I want life to look like? What would need to happen in order for me to live the type of lifestyle that I want to live? And then say, what type of role would allow me to have that type of lifestyle? So if you're at the stage in your parenting journey where your children are young and you're saying that you want to spend more time with them, you want to be around, then what type of role is going to facilitate that in the short term and in the long term? Or perhaps you're looking at a traditional role and you're saying this isn't really going to work for my lifestyle, but it is something that I really want to do. Then you can consider, well, what are some of the ways that I could perhaps do this differently? Could I negotiate some flexibility? Could I perhaps work in a different way than I had originally intended? So you can start to think less about, is it possible? And then say to yourself, well, how could I make it work once you've determined that that is the particular path that you want to go down? So your task for today is for you to really think about, what would I want life to look like in an ideal world? And yes, I fully appreciate that we are not living in an ideal world, but what I want you to do is get more into the habit of thinking big picture, beyond the barriers, beyond what you perceive to be the limitations, and say, what would I ideally want to happen? What does that picture look like? And then from there, you can start saying, okay, well, if that was the ideal, what could I do to make that more of a reality? And perhaps that makes you think, you know what, I was thinking that I had to work in this particular way, but I recognize that there may be some different ways to do things. There may be some flexibility that I hadn't thought about before, or there may be a different way to approach what it is that I ultimately want to do. Perhaps the timeline for what it is I want to do is different. So once you start thinking about what is really important to you, list out 3 things that are really important to you in terms of the lifestyle that you want to have. And while you're doing that, you're thinking about the type of role, like how would I like to be showing up at work? What would I like to be doing on a day-to-day? Who would I like to have in my environment? Start thinking about those things and list out 3 things that would be really important to you as it pertains to a new career and a new direction. And you might not know what that new career or new direction looks like. I'm not asking you at this stage to say, well, what is it that you're going to do? But it's more about who do you want to be? What type of lifestyle do you want to be living? How do you want to be feeling when you make your career change? I would love for you to come over to the Career Changemaker Facebook group and share with me your insights and thoughts on this particular exercise. I look forward to chatting with you again tomorrow as we dive into another aspect of your career change journey that you should be thinking about. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Changemaker podcast. If you have enjoyed what you've heard today, then head over to iTunes or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts and leave us a rating and review. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can hear when the next episode goes live. And if you like hanging out on Instagram, then I would love for you to tag me and let me know what you really thought about the episode over there at Career Changemaker. Until next time, keep working towards your career goals and we will speak very, very soon.